Very good afternoon, doctor. My name is Najra binti Jai and metric number is 197229. Today I'm going to present to you the financial performance analysis of 5 retail companies in Bursa, Malaysia. So this is the overview of what I'm going to present to you today. First is the introduction. So the introduction comprises of the list of companies and also the data collection method. Secondly is comparison of performance data, common descriptive statistic, correlation, and then linear relationship between share price and earning per share. So for this assignment, I've decided to choose 5 companies from retail industries, which are 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad, Tommy Constellated Berhad, Pokong Holding Berhad, Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad, and Bashhome Holding Berhad. So for the data collection method, I've utilized 2 sources, which is primary sources and secondary sources. So for the primary sources, I've extracted the data of net profit, revenue, and EPS from the annual reports. And then for the secondary sources, I've extracted the monthly share price from 2 online platforms, which are investing.com and KLSE. Next, let's dive right through the comparison of performance data for sales performances. So based on the chart, 7-Eleven have shown a consistent increase in sales. And then for Tommy Constellated Berhad has also demonstrated a positive sales trend. And for Pokong Holding Berhad experienced a fluctuating sales with the highest sales figure of 1,362,609 ringgit in 2022. And for Aeon has maintained relatively stable sales. And last but not least, Bashhome Holding Berhad shows a consistent sales performance with the highest sales figure of 271,390 ringgit in 2021. Next is the net profit. So for the net profit, 7-Eleven have shown a consistent increase in net profit. And then Tommy Constellated Berhad has also experienced a significant increase in net profit. For Pokong Holding Berhad shows a fluctuating net profit with the highest net profit of 92,191 ringgit in 2022. Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad demonstrated consistent growth in net profit with the highest net profit of 111,232 ringgit in 2022. And last but not least, Bashhome Holding Berhad exhibited a relatively stable net profit. Next is the basic earning per share. So for basic earning per share, 7-Eleven Berhad has consistently maintained a relatively stable EPS. And then for Tommy Constellated Berhad also, likewise, shows a significant fluctuation in EPS. And then for Pokong Holding Berhad exhibit a fluctuating EPS with the highest EPS of 22.47 ringgit in 2022. Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad demonstrate consistent EPS. And last but not least, Bashhome Holding Berhad displayed a declining EPS with the highest EPS 24 ringgit 88 cent in 2018. Next is the monthly share price performances. So it's worth noting that the chart has given you the figure in ringgit, while the overall discussion portrays it through changes in percentage. I've calculated both, and it is in the Excel file. You might want to look at it to see the result of both calculations. So for the overall, 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad experienced fluctuation throughout the year, with a significant gain of 20% in November 2018, a decline of 15% in September 2018, and 10% in October 2020. And for Tommy Constellated Berhad saw a mix of positive and negative changes. For Pokong Holding Berhad also had fluctuation with a major decline of 30% in February 2020 and an upward trend of 35% in March 2021. For Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad displayed both positive and negative changes. And then last but not least, Bashhome Holding Berhad has consistent decline throughout the year, particularly with a drop of 30% in October 2019 and 25% in February 2020. Let's move on to common descriptive statistic for sales performances. So as you can see from the table, I've calculated mean, median, and standard deviation. But I'm just going to read through the discussion or the findings. So for 7-Eleven leisure Berhad, for all the findings, it indicates for the sales performance indicates a high variability. And for Tommy Conservative Berhad, suggesting a moderate variability. For Pokong Holding Berhad, for between the average sales median and standard deviation indicates a relatively low variability. For Aeon.com Malaysia Berhad, it shows an average sales of 4,143,056.80 cents and a median of 4,141,094 ringgit and a standard deviation of 307,343 ringgit and 83 cents, suggesting a moderate variability. And last but not least, Special Holding Berhad indicate relatively low variability. Let's move on to net profit. So for net profit, it's the same, a calculated mean, median, and standard deviation. For 7-Eleven, indicating a moderate variability. For Tommy Conservative Berhad, suggesting a moderate variability. And then for Pokong, it indicates a high variability. Then Aeon.com Malaysia Berhad also indicated a moderate variability. And last but not least, Special Holding Berhad, likewise, also indicate a moderate variability. Next, let's move on to basic earning per share. So for basic earning per share, for 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad, it suggested a moderate volatility in EPS. And for Tommy's Consolidated Berhad, suggested a significant volatility also in the EPS. While for Pokong Holding Berhad, it suggested indicated a moderate volatility. For Aeon.com Malaysia Berhad, indicated relatively stable earnings. And last but not least, for Basham Holding Berhad, indicates a moderate volatility in the EPS. Next is monthly share price performances. So 7-Eleven demonstrate a varying mean earning percentage from negative 0.03% to 3.42%, indicating a volatility. And then for Tommy Conservative Berhad, exhibit fluctuating earnings with mean percentage ranging from negative 1.89% to 9.58%, and a high volatility of standard deviation. For Pokong Holding Berhad showcase a mixed earning performance with mean and moderate volatility ranging from 3.51% to 25.76%. And for Aeon.com Malaysia Berhad display a varied mean earning percentage from negative 1.14% to 3.87%, along with moderate volatility indicated by standard deviation. And last but not least, Peshmam Holding Berhad shows a mixed earning performance and relatively low volatility. Next, let's go through the correlation among sales performances. So I have put the indicator for the deviation for all the companies, and I've calculated correlation based on pair for all the companies. So for 7-Eleven, has a strong positive correlation with Tommy, and then the correlation between 7-Eleven and Pokong Holding Berhad suggesting a weak negative relationship, and for Aeon with 7-Eleven shows a strong negative relation. And moving on to Tommy Consolidated Berhad, it has moderate positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad, a moderate negative correlation with Aeon Co Berhad, and then also a moderate negative relation with Basham Holding Berhad. And for Pokong Holding Berhad, has a weak positive correlation with Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad, and a weak negative correlation with Basham Holding Berhad. Last but not least, Aeon Co Malaysia Berhad exhibits a moderate positive correlation with Basham Holding Berhad. Next is correlation among net profit margin. So for 7-Eleven has a strong positive correlation with Tommy Consolidated Berhad, a very strong positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad. However, the correlation with Aon is strictly negative. And moving on to Tommy Concentrated Berhad, it exhibits a very strong positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad and a weak negative correlation with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad, and then similarly correlation between Bestrom, indicating a strong negative relationship. And then for Pokong Holding Berhad with Aon Co. Holding Berhad is a moderate positive correlation, while the correlation with Bestrom is a weak negative correlation. And lastly, Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad shows a moderate positive correlation with Bestrom Holding Berhad. Next is correlation among earning per share. So 7-Eleven has a moderate positive correlation with Tommy Consolidated Berhad and a strong positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad. However, the correlation with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad is strictly positive. Moving on to Tommy Consolidated Berhad, exhibit a strong positive correlation with Pokong and a weak negative relation with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad. Similarly, the correlation between Bestrom Holding Berhad indicating a strong negative relationship. And then for Pokong Holding Berhad, the correlation with Aon is moderately positive, and then the correlation with Bestrom is weakly negative. And lastly, Aon Co. Malaysia shows a moderate positive correlation with Bestrom Holding Berhad. Next is correlation among annual share price performances. So for 7-Eleven Malaysia Holding Berhad shows a moderate positive correlation with Tommy Consolidated Berhad, a strong positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad, particularly in 2020. However, it correlates with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad remains relatively weak. Next is Tommy Consolidated Berhad exhibit a very strong positive correlation with Pokong Holding Berhad in 2020, but a weak negative correlation with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad and a strong negative correlation with Bestrom Holding Berhad. Next is Pokong Holding Berhad has a moderate positive correlation with Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad and a moderate negative correlation with Bestrom Berhad. Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad shows a moderate positive correlation with Bestrom Holding Berhad. Last but not least is the linear relationship between share price and earning per share. So I have calculated the slope and intercept to come up with the equation for linear. So for 7-Eleven Holding Berhad shows a positive relationship with a slope of 0.10, indicating that EPS increases, the share price tends to increase. And then Tommy Consolidated Berhad also exhibits a positive relationship, although with a smaller magnitude. And then Pokong Holding Berhad demonstrates a negative relationship, suggesting that as EPS increases, the share price tends to decrease. And for Aon Co. Malaysia Berhad has similar positive relationship with 7-Eleven. And then finally, the Bestrom Holding Berhad shows that strongest negative relationship among the 5 companies, indicating that as EPS increases, the share price tends to decrease significantly. So that's all from me. Thank you.